Hi, this is Gmac for the Razor Company and welcome to another shave. Today's focus will be on a very special razor, the Razor Company's own Vanguard. Stay with me. When we talk about razors and when we talk about so many different, vendors coming out with their own designs or trying to create something, and there's always going to be something special because most, vendors have used other razors, they know designs, they know how they perform, and there's always something special that is created out of it. So today, before I can get down to the TRC Vanguard, let me first get through the other bits of the shave. So I'm going to be using the Gillette Platinum blade for the shave. This is available at the Razor Company, made in St. Petersburg. I absolutely love this blade. There's a reason for it. While the Wizomet remains my all-time #1 blade, this probably would be #2, and because this is a blade that is sharp, it's smooth, and yet it's forgiving. Let's get to the other parts. For the soap, I'm going to be going with Barrister and Mann First Snow. I'm working off a sample. This one, of course, has Siberian fur leather and a little bit of menthol, which is light menthol. The omnibus base, and just to give you a look at what it looks like, well, it's a crope basically, fairly thick but easy to scoop out. I would not brush load the omnibus base, and that's just me. I prefer to scoop it out and use it. Let's also remind you that First Snow, if you've used Rome 2, it's very close to that. First Snow does remind you of being on a slope, maybe where there is snow, there are pine trees. It actually does remind you of that. But Rome 2 for me, it's very similar to this in a different manner. It has a herbaceous kind of feel to it. Reminds you of that same slope without the snow. And when, everything is green. So to me, they're almost like step siblings, or like siblings in a way. I really do love both of them. For the brush, I'm going to be going with the 22mm, not the Phoenix Shaving Astraeus. I absolutely love this brush. Beautiful knot. About 55mm loft. Really, really nice. Just gonna soak it. And for the aftershave, Margaritas in the Attic by Stirling. Do love it very much. Lightly mentholated again. So let me get down to talking about the razor itself. Now, TRC did have their signature stainless steel razor a while back. Then there was the titanium version of it. It came with the standard as well as the plus plate. And you also had the TRC aluminum razor, which made a return recently, and many love it. There was a difference in that razor. The design, of course, was a little bit, it had a head that was intuitive and kind of a fixed angle to it. I did love that razor. I reviewed it. I thought it was very efficient. It was really a superb razor to use, and I had fun using it. And I still, have fun using any of the TRC made razors because there's a lot of thought that goes into it. So today I received this beautiful little box, and I think this is really thoughtful. No plastic packaging, just a nice little cardboard box. And there you have it, traditional shaving tools. It also has Albert Einstein's, if you bought stuff from TRC, you would have received that sticker with Albert Einstein on it that says, "Why is it I always get my best ideas while shaving?" So I do love the fact this is a really nice touch. To me, this is a very eco-friendly touch. You go in with a cardboard box, you don't create this mega packaging, waste of plastic or waste of, probably even wood. I really love this. I love this idea. So simple packaging, and what a beautiful razor. What an absolutely beautiful razor this is. Let me talk a little bit about this. So one of my good mates, of course, has reviewed the standard plate, but this is the plus plate, and there's a reason why I wanted to review this razor. So 88, this is my first shave with it. 88 grams, that's what we're looking at, and the height of the handle is about 3.5 inches or 89mm. That's the razor. That's the money shot. And well, it's got a absolutely beautiful design. If you look at the way, the base plate actually kind of tapers out here downwards after that flat. It's also got a beautiful blade gap. We'll talk about that. Lovely head. It's got a triangle kind of head, three-sided head. You can get a closer look of that here. Just to give you what it looks like. And this is a 316 marine stainless steel grade razor. It has been totally designed. It is, to put it in a nutshell, this is actually the brainchild of Jason and the in-house team of the razor company to produce what we would call such a splendid razor. And this razor, of course, will make a lot of wet shavers happy worldwide. So let's look at the razor itself. Comes in 3 different base plates. Mild, which is about 0.72 blade gap and a neutral exposure. Then you've got the standard. It's not the medium, but the standard plate, which is about 0.86 millimeters blade gap and about 0.08 millimeters exposure. And then you've got this one, my friend. This is a beauty. This is a 0.9 millimeter blade gap. Absolutely stunning. And 0.125 millimeter blade exposure. I absolutely adore that. There's a reason why I chose this razor before I split it and, kind of show you what the insides look like. This is one of my all-time favorite razors. This is the Green Cult 1.0, version 1.0. It has the same blade gap and it's the same exposure. Love this razor. I'm not going to be comparing these two razors. I never do that because each razor has its own identity. But I will tell you exactly how this shaves. Just because it's a razor company creation, I'm not going to be going by that, but I'm actually going to go on the basis of the fact of how it shaves. And we call a spade here today, okay? So what I love about this razor is when you split it apart, that's a handle, of course, nice vertical grooves on it to hold it, beautiful knurling. There's a nice smooth spot here, but it gives you a very good grip, especially if you want to keep your middle finger there, depending on how well you shave with it. But I do love this handle. It's a hollow handle, as you can see, which is why the weight of the entire razor is 88 grams. And for me, that is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So let's look at the top cap. This is the top cap. Absolutely no machining marks in there. This is what it looks like. Mirror polished stainless steel. If you look at the base plate, it has what you could call the beveled, edge on the straight bar. It's a beveled straight bar. I don't know if you can see that clearly. It's slightly different from the scallop to the grooved. It's like it looks really beautiful actually, and I'm sure that it shaves just as well. That's the top of the base plate. The underneath has the razor company logo, as you can see, just above my thumb, and mirror polished stainless steel. Get another razor and another brand in mirror polished stainless steel. No machining marks, and it looks like a piece of jewelry. Oh, you're going to pay a lot of money. Not for this one. The entire razor is 119.99 USD. If you buy a base plate, an extra base plate, it's 39.99 USD. And if you buy the whole set, 3 base plates, top cap, handle, and the stand, 199.99 USD. Get me better value than that with this kind of finishing and design, and I'll give you the razor free. This is outstanding as far as the design, the concept, and the pricing goes. I think, TRC just hit the nail on the head with the pricing this time. So I do believe that most of them are sold out, most of the combinations. The standard base plate is available, but it will be back in stock. This is not a razor that's going anywhere. So let's get down to shaving with it. I'm going to load the blade first. I'm also going to show you a very important part that I actually missed out. If you notice, there are diamond patterned posts, as you can see. Those are the diamond patterned posts and the diamond, shaped holes for the blade to lock in. And there's a reason why I really like that. That's inspired by a vintage razor, which is the Gillette Goodwill. Now the Goodwill has the diamond, posts coming out on top, and that's where I couldn't afford the Goodwill, even though I love it because it was really expensive. So I picked up the Yaki Aholican in stainless steel, which of course is better value and will last longer. And you notice the top cap? Well, that has the diamond posts. Now this is also inspired by the Goodwill, and I'm just going to open it up for you so that you can see it. So if you look at the design, unlike the Vanguard where the top is smooth, the top cap, and the posts go inside so it locks in this one, the posts actually sit on top of the base plate, and that's the top cap. So if you notice, the top cap is has the diamond pattern holes on it, and this of course sits into that. So when you lock it in, as you can see, well, that's what you get. Now I do like the fact that, you know, had the Razor company gone in with this design and created something like that, I think it would have been, well, kind of run of the mill to me. But the fact that they decided to go with it internally, to use it to lock the blade in, I think that is fantastic. So let me stop talking so much and get straight down to the shave itself. Let's find out how the Vanguard performs. So the Gillette blade, and I was guilty of not loading the blade on screen. This is the Gillette Platinum. I don't know if you can see it. It's got the laser etched part there. So that's the top cap, and one of my good mates, of course, did comment on it recently. Thank you for that. I'm just lazy sometimes. I'm sorry about that. So that's the top cap. It goes straight in. Now, once you've got your blade in, all you got to do is just lock it in nicely. I'd hold my thumb and my forefinger on it. I always use a washer. It's a habit because I like to protect my razors. Bit of OCD there, but hey, I have no issues with it. So that's it. And then let's go with the handle. And no blade exposure on either side. And there you have it. Perfect blade alignment. That is superb. I always love it when a razor can do that. So perfect blade alignment, no exposure, blade exposure, or no blade tabs exposed. And it's very hot and humid in my region. Let's get straight down to the shave. And we'll go with the first lather, and let's find out how the Vanguard performs. I'm very excited about this, really excited. So I'm using my Hendrix Classics & Company stainless steel bowl. And always easy to get a nice lather going with the Barrister and Mann Omnibus base. It's a bit of a thirsty soap, I would say, but all said and done, you don't really need to, well, work too hard at it. Slightly low structure lather, but you can, of course, hydrate it a lot more. I don't like hydrating my soaps too much, depending on what razor I'm using. So let's get down to the first lather application, and let's find out how exactly, well, this soap performs. So that's pretty much what the lather looks like. Oh, I just love the feel of the soap on my face, and I've always said this: first few strokes of lather on your face, and if the soap kind of grabs you, then you know exactly what it is. I'm gonna get a bit of lather on my earrings. That's all right. I do love this knot as well very much. Of late I have started gravitating towards smaller knots. I find that 30mm knot, and I've got a big face, I mean, to be fair, but I find big knots like the 30mm or even 28mm somehow don't cut it for me, and that's just a personal preference. So if you have used Rome 2, you are gonna love this soap. It feels like Rome 2 with menthol, and that's where the snow comes in. Rome 2 can be Barrister and Mann can be a bit more. It's a bit of a stronger scent. This is an absolutely beautiful scent. It's like a calming pine, that Siberian, fir that they talk of. Or the Omnibus base. Such a delight to use always. I think I've said this before, but for me, the Barrister and Mann Reserve base remains my #1 base of all time. And then, of course, the Omnibus base and, well, Zingari, Mann, Sapone Facile. There are so many of them that I once you go down the rabbit hole. So there's a lot of lather left, as you can see, and there's a lot of, I think I could probably go for another 2.5 passes. So let's get shaving with the Vanguard. Just gonna leave the lather on the earrings. First pass with the Vanguard. Did you see that? I didn't have to search for the angle. Just hit the face with it and it just started taking off the whiskers. I had a 4.5 day growth. So, or I'm sporting a 4.5 day growth. So let's find out how this performs. It's super smooth. I loved the TRC signature razor, the one that came out in that beautiful, bead blasted kind of a matte finish. I think I'm just going to knock off my earrings because they're going to come in the way of the shave. Yeah, always clear your jewelry, but this razor does look a bit like jewelry to me. So I was just saying that I did love the the original TRC signature razor. I just like this a little better, and I'm serious about that. Something about this razor, the balance point, which is probably around here. The way it feels in your hand, it feels like a really solid razor. And I have to say one thing, you've got to decide what is the kind of razor or the base plate that you want. Do you want the mild? Do you want the standard? Do you want, the standard is always the sweet spot, it'll give you a great shave, and at the same time you could still use it as a daily driver. So I actually reached out to Carlos, as I normally would. Carlos is a brother, and I said, mate, standard or plus, because I love the Blackbird. I want something that is kind of efficient like that. And he said, just go with the plus. Carlos, amigo, 10 on 10 for that, buddy. Oh, this is an absolutely stunning razor. Surprised by it. First ride. I'm going to say that this razor is almost autopilot. But if you're a newbie, I wouldn't recommend it. Go in with the mild or the standard plate. In fact, just skip the mild. Go in with the standard plate, keep the mild if you want to shave every day probably. Or just get all three. That's the best way to do it. This is a very efficient razor. I'm not going to say that it's aggressive because I don't think any particular razor is really aggressive. I always think that the efficiency differs. But, I did go over my neck like 2 or 3 times. And if you do that, you are going to land up with a weeper. It has nothing to do with the razor. It's with a razor like this, well, since I'm using it for the first time, it takes me about 2 or 3 shaves to get used to the razor. Keep those normal points in mind. very easy to get under the nose. If even for a minute you are thinking, or that you're going to think that this design kind of is a little bit like a Henson, oh, don't think about it. It's an entirely different razor. So it is an efficient razor. It is also it is so smooth, and I've always said this, the smoother the razor, the more deceptive they are, and the more prone they are to cause nicks or weepers. Onto the second application. So if I was a newbie, I would not use this. I'm going to say get all 3 plates. And as you progress through your shaving journey, start with the mild, go to the standard as you get better, as your experience, as your technique gets, kind of near perfect, move on to the plus plate. I'm glad I picked up the plus plate. This is totally, up my alley. And to be fair, I'm actually probably going to get the standard plate as well, because today I was shaving with 4.5 days of growth. If you want to do, kind of a daily shave, I think the standard would be perfect. And one of my good mates, of course, has reviewed it, in the videos. And just in case you're wondering, Barrister and Mann First Snow, it's available at the razor company, the full tub, as well as the matching aftershave. If you like this kind of a fragrance, slight pine, a little bit of Siberian fir, just a touch of leather in there, this is fantastic. It's an absolutely beautiful soap. That menthol it's so pleasant. It's not an overwhelming menthol. I like my menthol really strong, but this one is kind of a little lower than mid-strength, but it's so calming. It really feels like First Snow. Alright, I think we're good to go with our second pass, and I've still got, so much of lather in there, as always. Guilty of loading too much? I don't know about that. So have you picked up the Vanguard? If you haven't, make haste, my friend, make haste. The moment it comes back in stock, just go and pick it up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the one with the standard, the full razor with the standard plate is still available. The gold test, always for me. I'm going to say this again, just in case, and I said it, I was going to give a very unbiased review, which I would always do. I'm going to say this again, this is a fantastic shaver, but choose your base plate wisely. For me, it's a perfect base plate. I could probably do with it even for a daily shave, but I want to get the standard plate, so I'm going to get the standard plate along with this. I'm going to stay off the mild plate, and that's just me. There might be other shavers who actually, love the standard plate. I did get a weeper, and that's because I went over that spot a couple of times and I used a good bit of pressure. Well, that's what happens. I've always said that the smoother the razor, the more the potential to get a weeper. This razor requires a very light touch. I can tell you, it cuts through everything. I've just used light strokes here and it's all gone. You see, normally with some razors, I've got to add a bit of pressure, go over it a couple of times. But not with this one. It's absolutely smooth. In fact, I'm a bit shocked with its efficiency, because I do know that, when I picked up the Aylesworth Copper Cant, it was a bit of a, or when I shaved with it, it was a bit of a milder shave, even though the blade gap was similar, 0.99, and that's probably the design of the razor. But this one, this kind of reminds me of the efficiency of the Apex stainless steel. but it's got an entirely different shave delivery. The feel of the blade is there, even though it's a 0.125, but it's not intimidating in any way. It's just, as I said, it's so smooth that you could actually cut yourself. Look at that. That's a fantastic pass. You could actually cut yourself if you aren't paying attention, so I wouldn't dig in with it, even by mistake. No pressure. And you really don't require it. Also this, I suddenly realized, this part of the handle, when you're holding it, it actually, the smooth area, it actually helps you grip it better. I'm just going to say this, you know, I know that Jason had a big part to play in the design, but the team that worked on this, I think there's a lot of thought that went into this razor, not just the design, but even keeping the handle hollow so that you could get the weight down. And I think that's worked like a charm. It's worked beautifully. Remember the Green Cult 1.0 that I showed you earlier, and I said it's one of my favorite razors, and it'll always be one of my favorite razors. This one shaves like it, but is more forgiving and is smoother. And I mean it. I really mean it. And the reason I'm saying that is if you are a Green Cult fan and if you're a fan of version 1 and you feel that the blade gap and this exposure is the same, so it's a similar razor, actually it isn't. I would say go out and get this, because I'm going to enjoy both of them in rotation. Alright, stellar shave. Love this razor. It's going to be in my rotation now for sure. Absolutely love it. And I'm so tempted that I am going to go out and pick up the standard plate, because, you know, it's that good. Because I would love to use that as a daily shaver, or, you know, when I have like a couple of days of work on the trot. So, quick cleanup. I enjoyed that shave. I really did. That's baby smooth. You know, 2 passes, absolutely no problem. I just had a small weep here because I did apply pressure. I was enjoying the shave so much that I got overconfident. So, quickly I'll look at all the gear that I used today. Barrister and Mann First Snow. Absolutely love this soap. I'm getting a tub of it. Along with the matching aftershave splash. Hendrix Classics and Company stainless steel lather bowl. The Astraeus, it's got a bit of lather on it, by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. 22mm knot, 55mm loft. Absolutely love it. Gillette Platinum blade. For the main star of the show, of course, was the razor company Vanguard. This is with the plus plate. I highly recommend this razor. TRC knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. They really did. Price point, design, mirror polishing, shave delivery, efficiency, smoothness. I'm going to put this efficiency at about an 8 on 10, 8.2, 8.5. Let's settle for 8.5. It's a very efficient razor with a plus plate. The smoothness of this razor, I'm going to give it probably a 7.8 or an 8. It's an stunningly smooth razor. Get this razor. If it gets back in stock, pick it up. If you want it, pick up the whole set. It's more value for money. Yeah, just go ahead and do that. Stirling Margaritas in the attic. Let's get a good splash on. And, oh, it smells divine. Everyone needs one of these. Whether you like a margarita or not, it just smells divine. Does it smell like a margarita? A little bit with a floral touch to it. Now, this is an aftershave that has a good amount of alcohol, and I'm not going to lie, now it really feels like a margarita. That's so amazing. But I can feel it burn, and that's how very close the razor got. I can feel it burn. So thank you, TRC. I really did love this razor, and I wanted to keep this review as honest as could be. Yeah, the standard plate next for me. So all the products that I used today, even the Phoenix shaving brushes, are normally available at the razor company. You can get the aftershave as well as the blade and the soap. That's all from me, Gmac, for today, and I do apologize if I've taken a bit more time, but I really wanted to look at this razor very closely. And on behalf of the razor company, it's time for me, Gmac, to shut shop and ship out of here and to say bye-bye for now. And as always, happy shaves, my friend.